Did you know that 1 square meter of a permaculture garden can produce as much as 20 kilograms of food each year? Quite remarkable, isn't it? Welcome to the world of permaculture, a sustainable and eco-friendly approach to gardening that's not only beneficial for the environment but also for our communities and individual well-being. It's about creating a productive garden that works with nature, not against it. Imagine having such a productive garden in your backyard. Well, it's possible, and we'll show you how. So, you might be wondering, what exactly is permaculture? Well, let's dive right in. Permaculture, a term coined from permanent agriculture and later expanded to permanent culture, is a design system for sustainable living and land use. It was developed in the late 70s by two Australians, Bill Mollison and David Holmgren, who were seeking ways to create harmonious, sustainable systems that work with nature rather than against it. At its core, permaculture is about cultivating an intimate relationship with the land and all its inhabitants. It's about observing natural ecosystems, understanding how they function, and using this knowledge to create human systems that mimic these patterns and relationships. It's about designing our gardens, our homes, and even our lives in ways that sustain both ourselves and the planet. Now let's talk about the 3 core principles of permaculture: care for the earth, care for people, and fair share. Care for the earth means preserving the planet's resources and promoting biodiversity. Care for people means creating systems that support human needs while fostering community and cooperation. Fair share means taking only what we need and ensuring that surplus resources are used to benefit all. These principles are the foundation of permaculture, guiding all decisions and actions. Permaculture goes beyond traditional gardening. It's not just about growing plants, it's about creating a whole ecosystem where plants, animals, and humans live in harmony. It's about generating abundance while reducing waste, creating resilience while promoting diversity, and fostering community while respecting individuality. Permaculture is a journey, a mindset, a way of life. It's about embracing the wisdom of nature and learning to see the world in a new way. It's about understanding that everything is connected, that every action has an impact, and that we all have a role to play in creating a sustainable future. So to sum it up, permaculture is a design philosophy that seeks to create sustainable systems by emulating natural ecosystems. It's a holistic approach that integrates gardening, architecture, and even social aspects to create a sustainable and harmonious environment. Now that you have a basic understanding of permaculture, let's dive into how you can apply these principles to your home garden. The first principle of permaculture is observation and interaction. This principle urges us not to rush in with a spade and a plan, but to sit back and watch. Our gardens are not blank canvases, but dynamic ecosystems, and understanding them requires time and attention. Observation is about more than just looking. It involves using all your senses to understand the environment. Listen to the birds, feel the direction of the wind, taste the soil, and smell the air after a rain. Each piece of information adds to your understanding of the garden's ecosystem. Interaction, on the other hand, is the action step that follows the observation. It's about getting your hands dirty, experimenting, and learning from the results. You've watched the sun's path across your garden, now it's time to plant accordingly. You've noticed where water collects after a rain, so you might decide to create a rain garden or a swale there. Let's break down a couple of practical examples. Say you've noticed a particular corner of your yard gets a lot of sun. You could use this space to plant heat-loving vegetables like tomatoes and peppers. Or perhaps you've observed that your soil is heavy with clay. Instead of fighting against this, embrace it by planting crops that thrive in clay, like beans and squash. Understanding your local climate is another crucial aspect of observation and interaction. Do you live in a dry, hot region? If so, you might want to consider drought-tolerant plants and techniques for conserving water. Or maybe you live in a cooler, wetter climate. In that case, plants that love moisture and methods for dealing with excess water will be your allies. Every garden is unique and every gardener is unique. The beauty of permaculture is that it allows for this diversity and encourages us to work with nature rather than against it. It's not about imposing our will on the land, but about finding a balance where both the gardener and the garden can thrive. Observation and interaction are key to creating a productive and sustainable permaculture garden. Through these two elements, we can design gardens that are not only beautiful and productive, but also resilient and sustainable. The second principle is about capturing and storing energy. Now, when we say energy, we're not just talking about solar panels or wind turbines, though these can certainly be part of a permaculture system, but let's zoom in on the garden level and see how we can harness and store energy right where we are. Consider this. Every day, your garden is bombarded with energy from the sun. Plants, in their infinite wisdom, have figured out how to capture this energy and turn it into food through photosynthesis. But we can also use this energy in other ways. For instance, by strategically planting trees, we can create shade in hot areas, reducing the need for water and protecting more delicate plants from the harsh midday sun. That's what we call passive solar design, and it's a fantastic way to capture and store solar energy in our gardens. But what about rainwater? It's an incredible source of energy that often goes untapped. Rainwater harvesting systems like rain barrels or more complex setups can capture this water and store it for later use. This not only saves on water bills but also reduces our dependency on municipal water systems. Plus, plants love rainwater. It's soft, oxygen-rich, and free of the chemicals found in tap water. And then we have composting, the gardener's gold mine. By composting our kitchen waste, we can capture the energy stored in food scraps and turn it into nutrient-rich soil for our plants. It's a beautiful cycle of energy capture and release. And let's not forget about animals. Chickens, for example, can turn kitchen scraps and garden waste into eggs and manure, another form of energy capture and storage. These are just a handful of examples of how we can capture and store energy in our gardens. The key is to think about energy flows, how they enter and leave your garden, and how you can make the most of them. Capturing and storing energy efficiently allows your garden to thrive with minimal intervention. It's about working with nature, not against it, and using the resources we have in the most efficient and sustainable way possible. So, let's continue to explore how we can apply these principles in our own gardens. The next principles are obtaining a yield and applying self-regulation. This is where the magic of permaculture really shines. It's about more than just growing your own food, though that's a fantastic part of it. It's about creating a garden that works for you, a garden that is in many ways self-sustaining. Obtaining a yield from your garden can take many forms. Perhaps the most obvious is growing edible plants. Imagine stepping into your backyard and picking fresh tomatoes, crisp lettuce, and fragrant herbs for your evening meal. Not only are you enjoying the fruits of your labor, but you're also reducing your reliance on the supermarket. A win for you and the environment. But there's more to obtaining a yield than just food. You can also yield materials for crafting, like bamboo for garden structures, or flowers for brightening up your home. Remember, every plant in your garden should serve a purpose, whether for food, beauty, or function. Now let's talk about self-regulation. This is the idea that a well-designed garden should require minimal intervention from the gardener. A key way to achieve this is through companion planting. This is when you plant certain species together because they benefit each other. For example, marigolds deter pests that are harmful to tomatoes, so planting them together can minimize the need for chemical pesticides. Another aspect of self-regulation is using natural pest control methods. Encouraging beneficial insects and birds into your garden can help keep pest populations in check. Even something as simple as a bird bath can attract birds that will happily munch on pesky insects. By integrating these principles into your garden design, you're creating a system that works with nature rather than against it. It's a system that is resilient, productive, and sustainable. By obtaining a yield and applying self-regulation, your garden becomes a self-sustaining ecosystem. And isn't that a beautiful thought? Your own little piece of nature thriving and producing right in your backyard. Now that you understand the basics of permaculture, it's time to start your journey. Permaculture isn't a one-size-fits-all approach. It's more like a puzzle where each piece fits uniquely into your garden's ecosystem. As you begin, remember that even the smallest step can make a big difference. Suppose you're contemplating where to start. In that case, a simple compost pile could be your first step towards sustainable living. Composting is an excellent way to recycle organic waste, enrich your soil, and reduce your carbon footprint. It's as easy as gathering your kitchen scraps, yard waste, and letting nature do its work. Planting a tree is another great first step. Trees are nature's lungs, purifying the air while providing shade and habitat for wildlife. Choose a tree suitable for your climate and soil type, and consider its benefits. Does it provide food or attract beneficial insects? Maybe it's a native species that supports local biodiversity? Every tree contributes to the tapestry of your garden and the planet. As you progress, keep the permaculture principles in mind. Observe your garden, interact with it, capture and store energy, aim for a yield, and learn from feedback. These principles aren't just gardening techniques, they are a mindset, a new way to view your relationship with nature. Remember, every small step counts in the journey towards a more sustainable and productive garden. So go ahead, start your permaculture journey today. The earth and your garden will thank you. We have reached the end of our permaculture journey today, but yours is just beginning. Imagine the power of nurturing a garden that not only feeds you, but also replenishes the earth. Think about the joy of sharing your garden's bounty with your community. Feel the peace of mind that comes from living in harmony with nature. Start applying permaculture principles in your garden today, and let us know how you get on. Together, we can create a greener and more sustainable world.